going on, guys? Welcome to the Spooling Up channel. My name is Naz. Today back in the MK4 GOLF GTI to do a little bit of diagnostic work. Basically, I've had a problem for the last couple of months and it seemed to come around since I fitted the Forge 008 diverter valve, but I'm not too sure. It may have been a problem before, but that might have just highlighted it. So I fitted the Forge diverter valve, and where it's a lot taller than the OEM one, the vacuum hose that comes to it, I had to stretch it and kink it at the top to get it to go onto the top of the diverter valve. So that seemed like it was around that time that the problem was getting caused. So what I did was I bought a new vacuum hose and fitted it so that it was much more free flowing and it didn't have any kinks in it or anything like that. And problem seemed to go away. So I sort of put it down to that, because what the car was doing was I'd pull up to a set of lights, or, you know, I'd be in traffic and I'd dip the clutch and the car would stall. And it was doing this all the time. And then it was idling funny, and it was like popping through the exhaust, and it just seemed like, you know, it wasn't running right at all. And also I'd be driving the car hard, foot flat on the throttle, the car would pick up, then it would flat spot, and it seemed like sometimes it would dump the boost, and then it would get back on boost and back on revs and start accelerating again. That's with while my foot was fully planted on the floor. So at the time, what I did was I unplugged the MAF, but I only did it when it was idling, and it didn't really seem to make much of a difference. But recently I've unplugged the MAF because the problem came back again, and I drove and it seemed fine. So I'm starting to sway towards thinking that there might be a problem with the mass airflow sensor. I was thinking at one point as well that it was the N75 valve, purely because the boost didn't seem like it was getting regulated properly. But yeah, now I'm swaying towards the MAF. I've code read the car. I've got no codes at all, and I'm hearing that sometimes with the MAF sensor that can happen too. So yeah, I'm just going to try and see if I can document it today by unplugging the MAF and plugging the MAF back in, and so on and so forth. See if I can record and show you guys what's going on with my car. It might help you guys. I've read online it seems to be a common problem with the MAF on these cars. So let's get on with it and see what happens. So back in the engine bay, and it's been left unplugged because that's how it was last time I was driving the car. So what I'm going to do, unplug that MAF sensor back in. Forge 008 is down there, and it's all connected up because I was sort of playing around connecting and disconnecting that as well. Obviously got the N75 valve here as well. So what I'm going to do is start it up and see if it starts causing problems. Not too sure how clear that came out, but there's an obvious flat spot there. Car accelerates, stops, and then starts accelerating again all by itself once I've got my foot flat on the throttle. So it's interesting there just to see exactly what's going on. This seems to be happening now when I accelerate. The car completely judders and staggers and hesitates. So that's a new one, that hasn't happened before. So I'm gonna see if unplugging the MAF helps that, but I'm starting to sway towards the N75 valve. So normally I'd get a bit of a really bad idle jumping up and down, and also the car would stall sometimes when I dip the clutch, like I've said before. So it would idle a bit rough as well, and then like I said, I'd get the flat spot and it would seem like the car would just recirculate the boost back round, like it was activating the diverter valve when it didn't need to, because I was still hard on the throttle. But now I've got a complete different problem that I've never had before. So I'm just going to floor it now, and I want to see if you can hear it and see what's going on. So the car's juddering, it's hesitating, it's staggering if you like, it's just not accelerating smoothly at all. So I'm going to have to look into that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull over and unplug the MAF and see if it makes a difference, which was the whole point I was coming out today, because I wanted the car to fault to see if I could try and diagnose it. But as I was driving around, it wasn't doing anything that was odd for a car. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull over, see if I can disconnect the MAF. I'm thinking I might have to do the N75 valve as well, because it seems like it's partly a boost related issue. So I'm going to have to go back and have a little think and have a little read up and see what I can find out. But I'm thinking it may be the N75 valve, and the issues that I have been getting with idle speed and the issues that I've been getting with the car stalling and so on and so forth, that's an intermittent thing. But this flat spot has always been there, or it's been there for a long time now. But the idle speed and things like that, that's intermittent. So I'm thinking, you know, it could be the both of them, but I'll change one at a time and see if it makes a difference to the other and so on and so forth. But let's just see if the car wants to do that stuttering again. It coughs and splutters out the exhaust as well, but I'm not too sure if that audio is coming through. Yeah, it's doing it on the button now every time at about 2,500 revs, I think. Let's just see if we can get it to do it in each gear. Let's see what happens as we pull off. Well, it's hesitated there already. There you go. Third, 2,500 revs. Was okay then, pretty smooth, but there's definitely a clear problem there. So let's get the car back and have a little look and see what I can do. Right guys, so I have unplugged the MAF sensor and it's done what I was told it would do, which is throw up the traction control light, and it's still doing the same thing, so it hasn't solved that problem. Just give it a quick shot. I mean, it doesn't happen every time, but it will start to stall and judder. There we go. So I'm thinking I might change the N75 valve first and see how I get on with that. Right guys, so I've just come back out to the Golf now just to give it a sort of a little look over and see if I can do anything without buying any parts first of all, and then if that doesn't work, then I'm going to go ahead and start buying new bits. Seeing as it seems like the MAF is sometimes making a difference and sometimes not making a difference, it's really hard to diagnose. It seems like an intermittent fault. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip the air intake down, take the MAF sensor off, give it a good clean, and then put it back on and see what happens then. But I'm also thinking about possibly just swapping out the N75 valve. Car's still got to go for a service really soon. I've just got to wait for a bit of time off work when I can book it into the garage and hopefully get to the bottom of things really quickly, because I want to get the intercooler on this and a few other bits and bobs and then just get it mapped up and start having some real fun in it. In the engine bay at the minute, literally gonna pull off the air filter, heat shield and MAF sensor, and then detach the MAF sensor from the heat shield and then give it a good spray up with some cleaner. And I might even take a look at the diverter valve. I might even swap it back to the OEM one just to see if that makes a difference. And really it's just about trial and error and ruling things out at the minute. So let me just get this bit stripped. It's pretty simple. Just got the Allen bolt down here, 10mm up here, 2 Jubilee clips, and then got my 10mm for the MAF sensor, and obviously this Jubilee clip here as well. So just going to get on with stripping that now. Right, so everything's stripped off now. Here's the MAF. And I was just going to say, actually, these are supposed to do like a self-clean on themselves, because it's like a hot wire system. It's supposed to heat itself up to burn any debris off it. And it's pretty difficult to see anything really, if I'm honest with you. So I'm not too sure whether cleaning it's going to be worth it, but I'm just going to give it a shot anyway. I've just got some MAF cleaner or carb cleaner. Just going to spray it in there and let it dry off. Pretty simple stuff really. In the meantime, while I allow that MAF sensor to dry, I'm thinking about swapping the diverter valve back, because I think it was around the time that I changed this that I started getting some problems. So just want to have a closer look at that. And actually, when I look at it now, looks like one of the screws at the top's missing. So I don't know whether that rattled itself out or what, but that right there, that could even be my problem. So let me just have a look. I think you get a spare one with the pack, so let me just have a look, because that is well and truly gone. Having a look in here, I just pulled out the 2 spare screws that you get and the Allen key. I'm going to go ahead and wind the screw into the top of it, and hopefully it makes a difference, something at least. Right, so that's all back on now. Can't even believe that screw was missing, man. That's so disappointing, and I'm only upset that I didn't notice it earlier. So I might just see if I can quickly throw things back together and see if it makes a difference, with the MAF being cleaned, of course, and the screw back in the top of that now. So let's see what happens. Right guys, so it's now crunch time with the Golf. I've got my parts here now. They finally arrived from Germany. So here's the OEM MAF, and also here is the N75 valve. A little bit concerned actually, because I've just seen that that's open, or it's been opened, so that's a little bit concerning, but I'll have to have a look at it and make sure that it's all good in there. Okay, so here's the new MAF now out of the box. Looks pretty good. It doesn't look like it's been tampered with, although the box looked like it had been opened already. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this on the car, guys, and see if it makes a difference. I'll go for a little test drive after, but I'm not actually going to film fitting it because you've seen it already. It's just a couple of bolts and a couple of screws to take the heat shield off and stuff. So going to go ahead and fit that. And I might even open the old one up properly by undoing these 2 screws here and trying to pull it out and seeing what it looks like and stuff. But yeah, going to go and put this on now. Hopefully it makes a difference, because I'm fed up now with driving the car around and it not being at its best. So let's go and see what it does. Okay, so the old MAF is now off, and just quickly check to make sure that the part numbers obviously match up. And don't forget, when you're putting the new one on, it's got a direction, so make sure that you mount it the correct way as well. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on now, throw everything back together and go for a quick test drive. Right guys, so just gonna start driving the car now and going for a little test drive, but I'm gonna wait for it to warm up before I start giving it, so I'll fast forward to that. Right, so I'm happy so far. The only thing is that obviously what was going on wasn't happening all the time, and it's like some days it was awful and other days it was completely fine. So I'm gonna be test driving it over the next couple of days, providing nothing happens today. If something happens today, then I'm gonna know that it hasn't worked, but if it seems okay today, I'm just gonna keep on driving it over the next couple of days and see if anything happens. Now I was just having a lot of fun then, but it's again, after giving the car a blast, like this is when it starts causing trouble. So I'm going to go home and change the N75 valve because it started playing up again. If I just show you, I hope you can hear and listen to this. It keeps cutting, the power keeps on cutting, and I don't know if it's to do with the boost, but it's been really weird. One day I was getting boost and it was boosting up to 5 psi and holding there. One day it's 8, and then today it's gone straight up to about 12. So I'm thinking that the N75 valve might not be working, but if I floor it, you get the hesitations and the cut in the power, and then it will pull again strong. So similar thing to what was happening before. So I'm just going to go back and change that N75 and see if it makes a difference now. Alright guys, so here we have the N75 valve. This is what I'm going to be looking at changing, so let's go ahead and start stripping this. Okay guys, here is my old N75 valve, the original one that came on the car, and this here is the new one that I've got. Now this one here, when I actually blow into it, I believe this side, the side that goes into the turbo inlet pipe, I can actually hear air leaking through the valve. Now I'm not too sure if this will be rectified once it's been on the car, but it doesn't seem too good, so I'm going to contact the seller and see what they say, because this old one here is not doing that. When I blow into it, it's holding all the pressure. So I'm going to put the new one on anyway and see if it makes a difference, see if it solves my problems, but I may face different ones now. So just going to put it on. Obviously I'm replacing the clips on the hoses, and I'm going to put my forged DV back on as well before I go for a drive. Right guys, so let me quickly tell you what happened. The same company that sent me that MAF that looked like it had been opened sent me the wrong boost pressure control valve, the wrong N75 valve. That's why I quickly went online and ordered one off eBay. Seems to be working, seems to be doing a fantastic job in the car now. So the boost is just going up to 8 psi and holding there rather than fluctuating. It would stay at 10 and the needle would shake, and obviously the car would shudder and so on and so forth, as I've been showing in previous videos. Also, sometimes it was only boosting to 5 psi before with the old N75. With this one, it's constantly going 7 to 8 psi. Everything seems perfect. Car's pulling with no hesitation. It just keeps on going like a train. But obviously now I've got a leak on the inlet, so I'm gonna have to just go ahead and order a genuine one and return this one, and pray to God that that valve's absolutely fine. But it seems that I've fixed the problem with the car now, and I'm really happy. So I'm just gonna quickly give it a blast. That's it. Hey guys, here we go. Here is the new genuine N75 from Volkswagen. So it's going to be time to fit this. Now, literally, the 3 Jubilees and the plug. I'm going to sit this new one on and then go for a spin. But I already know from testing the last one that this is definitely going to work, as this is the root of my problem. So I'm going to go ahead and swap it now and then go for a test drive. Right guys, so that's the new N75 on and all hooked up. Just going to quickly pop my engine cover back on and then going to shoot off for the, hopefully, the final test drive. Let's go then, final test drive. Seems alright so far. Just gotta give it full beans. Seems alright. Things seem to be much better. So looking at the boost gauge again, when you put your foot down, it does initially go up to around 12 psi. I'm guessing it's supposed to peak at that and then regulate itself back down, but if you put your foot on the throttle slowly, it only goes up to 7 or 8. But it's when you initially floor it, goes up to 12 and brings itself back down. So I don't know if you guys can tell me if it's supposed to be doing that or not, but other than that, everything seems all good. All right guys, so all the issues that I was dealing with before, the flat spots in boost, the drops in boost, the big peaks in boost, the shuddering from the whole car where the car was hesitating and it didn't know what it was doing, and the way it would randomly dump boost as I'm creeping along in like first and second at very low revs, and all of that has gone now. I also had the odd issue with the idle, but all of that's gone as well. And I've just got the car back from a service. Today's Thursday. I got it back last Friday, and even since then the car seemed like it had improved. But yeah, today I've swapped the N75 valve. Here's the old one, N75 or boost pressure control valve, whatever way you want to see it. It's a solenoid operated valve, so obviously over time, as it's electronic, that kind of thing can fail. So that seems to have failed on me, and now the car is driving so much better. So I'm so glad that I finally changed that. It was £100 and 25p from the dealers, but they were the only people that could get it to me genuine as soon as possible when I wanted it. Otherwise it would come from another country and this would be like £65 and then £9 delivery and so on and so forth. So that would just make things a bit of a hassle to wait for, even though you save a little bit of money. But yeah, the car's fixed now, guys, so more action for the Golf coming. Good to see you guys again, and if you'd like to see more from the channel, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Thanks for coming to watch.